Hey gamers, welcome back to another DSP video. This will be a content review video because ever since DSP was on Kino Casino, his entire streams and videos have changed, and they've all changed for the worse, and highlights a key issue I have had with DSP as a person slash content creator, because as everyone already understands, DSP has really no integrity. He just says stuff that sounds good in the moment, like, oh, I would never take a sponsorship ever because that's wrong. Meanwhile, he has taken sponsorships with OP Seats, even though that went through. He then wanted a sponsorship with Spawn Seats. He then did a sponsorship with Twitch with the Bounty system. Sure, that's a system wide thing, but if he was so against sponsorships, he would just not do it because, it's a sponsorship regardless. But he did it anyway. In the past, he did review copies, like he did sponsorships from like Sumo Lounge, Laser Mods, all these other things, and these are very like um infrequent hypocrisies that you can chalk up to, oh, well, at the time he didn't really care and all this stuff. And a lot of stuff in the early days, you could even argue he never really bragged about turning down sponsorships. But now he's always been saying, I would never take a sponsorship, to then saying that the trolls have taken my sponsorships away. It's because of that I can't do the sponsorships I want to do. Oh, if I do a sponsorship, I want to do something that I believe in. And he had that mentality even when he accepted the Spawn Seats sponsorship. Just as a little FYI, he had that same like statement then, and he still took the Spawn Seats sponsorship until it was removed from him. If the Spawn Seats thing never went away and lasted, he would be still shilling those chairs until they kicked him off it. But now that they don't exist, he can say the chair sucked and this and that, and never feel the repercussion of talking bad about his sponsor because they don't exist anymore. So that's like a small window of the hypocrisy. But the double standards and hypocrisy he has now that's going against his own integrity in a very extreme sense is his whole point of view on drama content. Now, you can also bring up that, well, Theo, he did the drama reacts with Keemstar and Wings of Redemption in 2019, 2020, like a few years ago, whatever. He did those reacts. And sure, those are drama videos, but you can at least understand to a degree that these are infrequent and these are just him watching a documentary and that's that. Whatever. Like, it's not as egregious as I'd say what he's doing now. If you go through his whole speeches about drama content and why they're wrong, he always says people do drama content when there's nothing going on and it's a slow day for them, so they pull up drama, and it's just a constant vicious cycle of drama content in the toilet. Which I even think that the toxic toilet juice meme even came from, possibly. But he brings up that people who bring up drama are just trying to get an easy paycheck. He has accused detractor channels of doing that very same thing. That, oh, they're just making videos to make a buck and all this stuff. They're spreading lies. They're spreading hearsay and all this other stuff, and people believe it. Meanwhile, DSP is literally watching detractor videos of all their content creators, and he's saying, "Well, I think they're saying this, and I heard this, I heard that," and that's like a smaller window of it, but it has seeped into, now he wants to do podcast segments when there's nothing going on. Like, I just kind of get a little frustrated or just mad when I hear him talk about saying, well, since there's nothing going on, I'm gonna talk about the LTG drama, or there's nothing going on, I'm gonna bring up LTG or my detractors and this thing. He has said this just this week alone, just randomly bringing up that it's been slow, so we'll dredge up some drama. And I'm just like sitting there thinking to myself, this dude went from saying that this is bad, that content creators would bring up drama content when there's a slow day, to just saying it with no self-awareness. And I really want to ask, how does DSP fans feel about DSP and like doubling down on doing drama content? Now, of course, he's gonna say the flimsy excuse of, well, what I do is meaningful and not hurtful and destructive like these other people. But it'd also be fair to assume that's how everyone operates when they upload a video. Like, no one is actively thinking this will destroy them. if I upload this video or anything like that. So it's disingenuous for him to make the assumption that everyone who makes drama video are doing it with intent to hurt. Of course, there are people who make drama content to hurt people and do all this other stuff, but you're not gonna just know that off the bat. Sure, you can kind of get a vibe when you watch a video and this and that, but again, these are very like subjective points, and some people may even agree with you on that kind of stuff. Whatever, but these are not something that you can say with a certainty that, oh, everyone who makes detractor reviews are the same or this and that. Which in June's documentary, he brings that up, that the trolls were annoyed that DSP kept painting us with a single brush, that, you know, with the swatting, for example, that, oh, my trolls were behind this, which he said, like, oh, if you made it this how you don't play, you almost got me killed, and that kind of stuff. He did kind of pull back on that then, but that's like to an extreme extent, to be fair. But him just willing to make drama content, I just don't quite get why would he do that. I thought he wants to be known as a positive YouTuber that does positive content, that you don't want drama and all this other stuff. Like, this has been a marketing brand, a marketing thing for him for years. And to now suddenly just say, well, guys, there's nothing going on, so let's bring out some drama, guys. Oh, I'm going to shit on duty every day. You know, it's just like, what's the point? And he tells us to ignore trolls and this and that, but he's giving them a spotlight in his own content now. And he can say, oh, well, I'm just felting them and this and that. But that's going to make the trolls respond, and then they're going to say, well, I felted him, and that's going to make you want to respond and say this. Like, this is very childish to kind of go down this rabbit hole of like, well, if they do this, then you do this, and you do this, they do this. And it's like, a lot of the detractor videos would probably cease to exist. Like, I've brought this up many times, but around the time that Vestrik was going on, and maybe even before that, and a little bit after that, I think there was like a calm of detractor content. Like, there wasn't a lot of rush to make videos on DSP, and there was not a lot of people doing a lot of stuff, just a lot of like chat trolling, and like people are just saying, wow, this guy's an idiot, that kind of stuff, which is stuff that's very ignorable. But it was like almost to the point where no one was actively making DSP content, and it was more of just like background noise to a point. But now, since he's doubling it, like, you know, it has gone back with a spotlight over time because he has gotten more of an ego, and Kino Casino has fueled this ego to like an insane proportion. But now we're just getting content where he's just wanting to do interviews with other people, starting drama with other people, and bragging about it. Like, I just feel it is so disgusting how this dude, like, if you go back to one of his vlogs, I think it was in 2016, it was a state of the stream address or state of a content address, I don't know, whatever. It was a state of video he uploaded in 2016. He brings up that he was very disappointed and frustrated that on KO Gaming, the only videos that were doing pretty good were the drama videos, the negative reviews, and he wanted the positive reviews to do just as good. And he said that it's frustrating because he wants to make more positive content, and he's frustrated that the YouTube system favors negativity and this and that. And he has said this for years after that, and now he's doubling down on making negative content. So if you're a longtime fan, what are you supposed to take from this? Like, again, he's saying, well, I'm changing, I'm listening to what you guys want, this and that. But I also want to bring this up. People have been saying, why don't you count super chats and tips in one goals? Even back on Twitch, they were saying, why don't you count cheers and tips, whatever. And he always said, no, I count them separately because that's how it is. You know, whatever. He said this for years and years and years and years and years. These random viewers come by from Kino Casino that no one really knows how long they're going to stick around or not. He immediately changes his content for them and starts counting super chats and tips and acts as if it's like a discovery that just happened. But this was a thing that people were asking him to do for years. And he gave them the cold shoulder and said, no, 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 you fucking idiots, and banned some people over it. But now suddenly he's open to do that. People over the years said, why don't you play WWE Champions on stream? No, 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 that's stupid. Fucking idiots. Kino Casino shows up, he does it anyway. And it's like, who do you really favor? He says he loves his longtime fans, but I think I even said this in the last content video I did, that he really only changes his content for fleeting viewers and not for the long time ones that have stuck around. And he doesn't really have any flexibility with anything he's done over the years. You look at his schedule and it's still as rigid and regimented as it has always been. Uh, he really started doing interviews, and the interviews are all garbage. They're all just um oh my god, what's the word? I'm blanking on the word. Not vindictive. Vanity. They're all vanity projects of his. I've never seen an interview where the interviewer is asking questions to the interviewee that are relatable to the interviewer. Like if you watch the Keemstar video interview, he's talking a lot about the content over the years and how it affects him and this and that. You look at the Starting Craig interview, and it's just him discussing their beef before, and you can already tell in the Starting Craig video that DSP didn't really go in wanting to hear Craig out, and just wanted a certain reaction from Craig, and that's emblematic of the ending of the interview as well, where he tried to fish Craig to say sure, and then for him to hang up on him. But if you go before that, when Craig asked him to apologize for lying to them, he didn't really give them an apology, and he gave them a half-ass, like, I'm sorry that I lied, but why didn't you apologize for being mean to me? And it's like, this isn't worth pursuing. Like, the interview he was looking, the apology he was looking for from Starting Craig was just about how he didn't like that they did that debriefing stream where they were critical of DSP, and he can feel that way. And I think Craig had, of all things, had a point to say that, to apologize for how DSP took it, because what were they supposed to do? I mean, sure, you could argue that they should have just not said anything, but even then, they're just stating an opinion that anyone can have that watched the interview. But it just wasn't worth pursuing that apology when the apology Craig was looking for was something that was far more relevant and damaging to an extent, because he lied not only to them but to his own viewers either as well. So it's not really fair to just kind of chase something that's more singular versus something that affected multiple people that should matter to DSP. And DSP, as over the years, have demonstrated that he doesn't like being beholden to other people or to viewers. He wants to just do his own thing and be allowed to do that. And anyone would want to feel that way. Like, they don't want to feel like that they're doing content for someone else. They want to make videos that they want to make and this and that. But there's always a time and a place for being receptive to your audience. You know, it doesn't benefit you responding out of spite to your own audience when you could just not engage in that kind of way. Like, for example, he says, well, why would I discuss my personal life? When I get personal questions, of course I lie. But it's like, well, why would that be the thing you go to? If someone asks someone a personal question, they either just don't answer, or they just straight up ignore it, or they just say, that's none of your business, and move on. When you lie, that's going to get people to be like, either take that as fact, and then when something that eventually comes out that that's not the case, they're going to go back to them and say, well, you lied. You're a piece of shit. And, you know, if you truly feel that no one should know about these personal matters, that what mobile game you should play, like, if you go back and look at how WWE Champion started, it just started with just people saying, hey, is this you? And then they changed his account and this and that, when he could have just said, yes, it's me. Or he could have easily just said, guys, like, I do play this game, but, you know, why does it matter? Or, I mean, again, he could have just said yes, and then they bring up, like, well, you spent a lot of money on this. He could just say, you know, who cares? You know, people support me anyway, and it does go to bills. Just because I spend like $5 in a mobile game, that's like, who cares? You know, whatever. You know, and people are gonna dislike it regardless. You know, it doesn't really matter. Your true fans that supported him openly told him they don't care, but he kept doubling down on, I would never do that. Like, there's a clip that he reacted to in the Doing the King documentary. They didn't even say anything about, where DSP said, when was asked back then about if he played WWE Champions, said, well, why would I lie? I guess people want me to lie because apparently honesty isn't the best policy, even though I believe honesty is the best policy, and this and that. But it's like, these are all during the time where he lied about this fucking mobile game. And again, he doesn't feel like he should apologize for that. And the window of apology, I feel, has already came and went. He had his opportunity when he announced that he was down from the rafters, but he didn't really give a sincere apology. He just said, well, no one cares, and he tried to dismiss the gravity of the accusation of, well, if this is true, well, look how much money that account spent in the game, and you lied for like 7 years about this. That doesn't really get a focus, and instead he just says, well, no one really cares anyway, but, then I sold the account, and it's like, you lied for 7 years and willy-nilly you just said you sold the account, like, with no hard evidence. Like, you don't think that maybe you should have provided something of a hard evidence than, well, I have a different phone, guys. I mean, like, at some point, you are going to have to, provide more evidence than just saying, well, now believe me, I just lied to you, believe me now. Like, no one should be believing him immediately after admitting that he lied to them. Like, that's not how trust works. DSP always says that people should trust one another and respect people and respect how you would like to be treated, this and that. But you can't just admit, I've lied to you for 7 years, guys, and then say that we should also trust him right after that. Like, that's not how trust works. Once you, like, break trust, you have to, like, work to get it back. And people can objectively sit there and say, well, I don't believe him. And he has said multiple times, it's okay if you don't believe me, I sold my account, but I sold the account. Like, just saying that isn't enough. Like, it's not a easy place to get out of, and this is something that you should have put a little bit more thought of. And like everything else, it feels very last minute that when he admitted this, because he had nothing prepared to prove that he sold the account or anything. Like, he didn't even say the service he used to sell it. He just said he sold to a guy who sold to a guy, and you can read between the lines of what that means. But it's like, why not just say, there's a website called www.sellers.com or whatever the fuck, and people can say, oh, that's an actual website, and they do that. Now, of course, maybe you could argue that if he did that, it would be against some TOS, but I kind of don't think that'd be the case, because I feel like there would be YouTube videos explaining the process or explaining about it and saying that if it's right or wrong or whatever the fuck. So I don't really think that just showcasing the website would be bad. But again, I don't know, because I don't really play these mobile games. I don't even understand the process. But I'm very skeptical about him selling the account. There's other stuff that gets into that, like the login streak has stayed the same even after he admitted it. So, like, either the person he sold it to is very committed to the login streak, or he didn't sell it. So, it's whatever. But that's like where his content is at this point. It's just every interview is just a vanity project to get them to give DSP some props, and to then just also say the trolls are bad. And it's like, anyone who goes on the internet who uses it can understand the concept of trolls are bad. Trolls are negative people, and they'll tear you apart or whatever the fuck. Like anyone can know that. That's why, like, these websites offer the block button, because if you don't want to deal with trolls, that's what you do with them. And DSP should know this, right? Correct? But he seems to be wanting to go after this notion of, I gotta go after my trolls. I gotta slam them and get everyone on board with me to slam them together. And it's like, this is not really productive, and it serves against you, if anything. And he's only doing this because Kino Casino does it on their stream on Kick, and they told him, well, it's fun to roast them and to felt them. And as I said in many videos, DSP has no personality and no identity of his own. So them telling him this, he just absorbs it like a sponge and just adopts everything that they do to the point where it's run into the ground. The king's coffers, the king's meme, and all this other shit has all been run into the ground to the point where it's just meaningless. It's meaningless slop, and I refuse to believe that this is some grand scheme of DSP to, well, I ran the meme into the ground so it can't be negative because I know they said it negatively. So if I use it to the point where it's bad, it's not a negative. It's just stupid or whatever the fuck. But it makes them look stupid and as a immature person because you're not really doing anything unique or fun with it other than just saying, guys, King's Coffers, that's felt the trolls and this and that, where it's like, why? Like, what are you the king of? He still doesn't know. He's still debating what he's the king of. The king of redundancy, the king of gaming, the king of kings. Like, there's really nothing relevant to the king moniker other than the king of hate, which he was in the past. So when he has slides like the king returns, the king is back, you can easily just kind of say, oh, he's saying the king of hate is back. Now, when he did the Kino Casino stuff, everyone was saying, guys, the king is back, guys. The negativity is back. And I feel like that a lot of people jumped the gun. Me included, I jumped the gun on that too. Where I don't think the old DSP is back or anything like that. It's more that he has gotten more pig-headed. Like you look at one of the 5 interests he has, where it's just him putting on the camera and it's just him ending with a big grin on his head. It really looks like he has a big head, and it's not a good look for someone. Like, if anyone was to just stroll into a DSP stream, they're just gonna think that this dude is a narcissist. And that's like the extreme or negative view of what's going on. He says that this is positive and this is like fun and he's like a cheerleader now because he's trying to get people to give him money. But you also look back and he says, well, guys, if you see my content, I'm not saying you're talking about money all the time. Like, guys, give me money. Guys, let's go. And this and that. And now that's what he's doing. He has talked more about money ever since he's done the king streak than he has even since the vest streak, which is like insane. It's more, it comes off more as an addict than he did in the past, where now he's just talking about, guys, you gotta hit the king's coffers, guys, we gotta fill the trolls, guys, you gotta do it, guys, I did this for this and this for that, and it's just like, I thought we were here to watch gaming content from the guy, and he wants to be a variety streamer and this and do more content, like doing interviews and this and that, but the interviews just have to be interesting. Like, he doesn't quite get that the pull of an interview is to learn about the interviewee, like who you're interviewing. That's the subject. You shouldn't go in and trying to relate the interviewee to yourself or try to find something to talk with him. Like, you're supposed to be interested in what he has to say. And part of me, in all honesty, kind of want to rewatch the Keemstar interview because I vaguely remember that interview not very well. The only thing I just remember was that DSP was talking for a majority of it, and Keem was just kind of like this saying, well, you should lean more into it and talk to more people and this and that. But then you have the whole thing with LTG, where LTG has been openly shooting DSP down since last year, saying he doesn't want to do anything with them. The money that he's saying that DSP has to pay him is just a meme, to the point where he's just saying that just to get him to shut up. That's really what it is. Like, that's why he keeps increasing it, because it's like, hey, you're constantly trying to get me on your show or trying to get me involved with your shit. I don't want to do that. So okay, 15k, 20k, and this and that. And it's just very clear that LTG doesn't care and he just wants to move on. And sure, he's gonna shit on DSP because it's LTG. Like, he shits on everyone. But DSP just can't take the hint, and he always wants to have the last word, which isn't mature. If you look at all the stuff he's done over the years, he always needed to get the last word. That's why when he bans someone, he says, yeah, take that, idiot. Or that he blocks someone on Twitter, he always replies, take that, idiot. But the dude is blocked. He can't read what you replied to him with, unless you blocked him after you replied, I guess. Whatever. But these aren't very mature this isn't mature behavior, and this isn't something that's worth going after. Like, anyone would have just said, okay, well, LTG wants to be left alone, whatever, let him do what he wants. And instead, DSP like says LTG doesn't understand how to play the game, guys. He doesn't understand that like he should do this. This will be good for him. And it's like, this isn't a good look, because you don't know what's good for him. You don't know if that's what he wants to do. He wants to do his own streams. That's what he wants to do, and that's what he's happy with. And instead, he's like saying, "Oh, you should do this other stuff that you're not thinking about doing because it's gonna help you." What if he doesn't want to get help? What if he doesn't want to grow his audience? Remember all these months of DSP saying that he's happy with the audience he has and he doesn't want to grow his audience and it's a curated audience? Like, there's so many podcasts where he had these cringe statements saying, "Guys, I am a curated content curator. I curate my audience." And it's like, okay, but then you look at what he's doing now. He's changing all this stuff for his content to keep a bigger audience, and he's been talking about how his views have been going up and this has been going up and this and that. But before, he would say that these low views that he used to get were good, and it's fine because he curates his audience and he curates his content. But now it's just, oh, now I'm just doing drama content. And the podcasts are just unbearable. You go to the gaming news segments, and not only is it just negative news stories, it's also just uninformed, and he can't have his own opinion. He always tiptoes around it. Like, I've been around people who I don't really agree with eye to eye on a lot of things, but I'm not gonna sit there and like placate to their beliefs, because that's not me. I'm just gonna go by what I believe in and what I think. I'm not gonna sit there like, oh well, this guy says it, I need to agree with that person. I need to like water down my opinion to please that person. Like, that's not fun, and that's not like normal. Like, I'm not gonna just be against what I don't have a problem with just because someone else has a problem with it and I don't want them to be mad at me. Like, if they get mad at me for having a different opinion of them, that's on them. They can like take it or leave it. I'm not gonna sit there and rip my hair out over like, oh, I can't believe Theo said this. I can't believe Theo he didn't think The Last of Us 2 was that bad of a game. I can't believe that. And it's like, who cares about that kind of stuff? But every time he does a news story, he's like, well, guys, they say that the new Assassin's Creed is like political because it has like a black samurai. Now, if you look at the history, this that, but then the guy we found out is lying. So like, it's like, what the fuck? And it's like, okay, but what do you think about that? I mean, personally, I don't care, because Assassin's Creed is not a game known for being historically accurate. No one plays Assassin's Creed to learn history. I mean, and the game has you go back in time through gene mumbo jumbo bullshit. Like, at this point, who fucking cares about what they're gonna do? Like, oh, they have a black samurai. Like, who cares? I mean, does people play Assassin's Creed to learn about Da Vinci and history? Like, no. I mean, sure, you could argue it's nice to have that as authenticity, but there is a thing called like a certain step of believable unbelievability. Oh man, suspension of disbelief. Oh my god. Suspension of disbelief. And people can disagree and think whatever. I'm not gonna like look down on people who don't have a different opinion of me, but I'm not gonna sit there and like tiptoe around my opinion on something that I generally believe in. Like, if people think this Assassin's Creed game is bad because of that reason, like, they can think that way all they want. I may think that some of the response I think is a little bit over dramatic, but I'm not gonna sit there and just antagonize other people for that. And DSP is known to just antagonize people when he doesn't really need to. Yet he placates the Assassin's Creed controversy, but when you go to Stellar Blade, for example, he just antagonizes them, thinking that everyone that plays the game are gooners, and they're all there to fap about the character's ass, and oh, she's going up and down a ladder. Like, I'm sure there's gooners online, like Derek, right? But that doesn't mean everyone who plays Stellar Blade is there to fucking fap, which is ironic coming from the guy who got busted on May 1st. So it's just ridiculous. And that's what the gaming news is. And then so it's not only that, but it's also him just reading articles. Like, I just was floored. He did this one gaming news where he was reading the about the PlayStation 5 Pro, and he was just confused a little bit. Like, so where's the price? Where's the thing? He was just scrolling around, and it's like, dude, like, shouldn't you just research what you want to talk about and say, like, well, like, I think that them releasing the PS5 Pro is this and that. Like, to me personally, I think it's just kind of a meaningless upgrade that's overpriced, that it should have the disc drive built in, or at least given the option, like the other PS5 gives you the option. To me personally, I think this is a little gamer note here. My biggest concern with the PS5 Pro isn't really the price as much as it is the precedent it sets. I'm more concerned about the PlayStation 6. Like, I don't care about uh the innards. Oh, this may do 4K. Oh, this may not, whatever. I don't care about the graphic fidelity that this is going to offer. I'm more concerned that when the PS6 comes out, they're just going to learn the wrong lesson and just kind of give you only the digital version of it. I don't like the precedent of what's going on with this, and I'm a little concerned with the future of consoles moving forward. So that's like my concern of that, and DSP didn't really have anything to say about that because he loves digital distribution, and that's fine. I'm sure a lot of people don't really care because it is what it is, but I think them just not having it at launch is ridiculous, and it sets a bad precedent. I mean, always give the player options, never take the options away. Uh, so that's the gamer news, and it's just kind of meaningless and not really interesting. Like, he doesn't really even sound interested in the games he's talking about. People were talking about him when he was playing Astrobot. Was it Astrobot, or was it that horror game? I don't know. It was some game he was playing, and people were asking him about like the state of play that came out. Like, oh, do you know about Ghost of Tsushima 2? And this, and he's like, this isn't like a gameplay stream, but we knew it was gonna happen, guys. So like, who cares? And it's like, I thought you liked the game. If I'm streaming and then so says Theo, they're making No More Heroes 4, I'd probably fucking like be excited. I'd be like, really? Oh god, oh hell yeah, whatever. Like, I got excited when I saw like the Elfel trailer last year in the VGAs. I got excited when they announced Dizzy for season 4 of Strive. But you don't see that with DSP. He always wants to be anti-hype because he thinks it's almost like he doesn't want to be seen as a petulant child. And sadly, he would, because when you see him get excited about things, he's always just like obnoxiously cartoonish about these hype announcements, and that's not really fun to sit through, because it doesn't feel genuine. I don't know like what the answer would be, because it's very like not arbitrary but abstract to say that he doesn't come off as a genuine person, because that's a criticism that is slightly unfair in the sense that I can't tell people how to be genuine. It's just be genuine. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's not a clear criticism, but a lot of the stuff that he says is this comes off as disingenuous and not honest from him, and that's just purely just listening to talk about games versus anything else under the sun. You talk about multiverses, he is like jumping up and down about licenses and properties that that they might reference, and that's like cool, I guess, but it's not like this is what you're hyped about. Like, oh, this is a game that's gonna combine like Steven Universe versus Scooby-Doo, and it's like, I've never heard even people who were hyped for that game describe the game like that. When Super Smash Brothers was coming around, no one was like, guys, oh my god, imagine Beautiful Joe versus Dante. Like, it was never that. It was just like, oh man, I hope the game like has good stages. Oh, I hope this and that. And a lot of stuff that DSP talks about doesn't feel honest. There's a lot of instances where he liked other games in the past, and then he hated them now, like Lollipop Chainsaw, Bayonetta 2, Catherine. All these games he said he liked back then, and then now he's like, well, I said that back then because, like, that was how it is, and I never really liked those games. And it's like, you're not gonna be honest about what you like. You have to, like, dismiss it, and it's just ridiculous. But his content is just so garbage that I'm in disbelief that he's putting this out and he has no like second guessing or thoughts about it. Like, I just remember there were multiple times where Jade was saying in chat like he didn't like the drama and he wanted, and he was pretty much saying every day, I hope there's no drama today. Is drama over with? Oh man, I hate drama. And now he's like hyping it up. And it's like your own viewer, the one dude that's been with you in your chat, talking to you and this and that, begging, pleading for no drama. And this dude is like, guys, we're gonna dredge up some drama today because there's nothing going on. Like, you go to the was it Street Fighter 6 or was it the Marvel collection? I think it was Street Fighter. But he was saying, guys, when you hit the goal, I'm gonna react to my detractors. And it's like, you're gonna do that anyway. There's no way if you don't hit the goal, you're just not gonna do that. He didn't hit the goal. Guess what? He did it anyway because it was meaningless. He always says he's afraid to do polls because of trolls and this and that. But why should you care? The poll option should be games you're gonna play anyway, correct? So why would it matter? Like, he did the poll for like Bully and he said that the trolls voted in droves for Bully, but I thought you didn't mind watching Bully. And that the throwback channel was a fan service channel and this and that. Why does it have to do well and perform well for it to stick around? Again, I've said this in the video where I discussed about his other channels. He acts as if like he's paying rent for the channels where they have to make a profit to stick around. But he was able to make one channel work for like years, and now suddenly he can't just use the same amount of income to do the other channels. Like, it doesn't make sense, and he gets ad revenue on these other channels as well. So like, the more you think about it, the less sense it makes. But you look at the drama, and it's like, why is he doing this? He's going back on his word, and he has no integrity. And this is the most blatant example of DSP just lacking the integrity of his own content. And I'm just curious to see how long will it take for the longtime fans to just say, I'm not going to come by anymore. Like, when will Jade finally say, I don't need to come to this guy's channel anymore because this guy does nothing but drama? And it really exposes how little he meant when he would tell you that I'm not a drama guy, I'm positive, giving you positive, meaningful content, when he was so quick, just fast, to just go and do drama content. Like, really think about the stream before Kino Casino and after, and look how fast he adopted responding to detractors and reacting to them. It is night and day, and how fast it went. And it's appalling that this dude doubled down on drama content, and he has no hesitation, no care about all these years of saying that he's such a positive guy and he doesn't want to do drama and this and that, to just saying, well, I will bring up LTG or other drama when there's nothing else to talk about. The thing he has literally complained about other people doing. He also complained about Turkey Tom milking drama from him by saying, well, I did the documentary, DSP responded. I responded to that, he responded to that. I guess I'm done milking DSP for the day or whatever the fuck. And he got mad that Turkey Tom was doing these these response videos to him. But now you fast forward a year, not even, because I think this happened in November, by the way. He's already doing that same thing. Well, LTG did this, so I respond. If he responds again, I'm going to respond again. And it's like, you're no better than Turkey Tom, the dude you complain for doing this very thing. You're milking a human DSP. I thought you're against that. But, of course, it's okay for him to do it because it's meaningful when he does it. But when Turkey Tom does it, that's negative and hurtful, even though Turkey Tom has done pretty much the same as DSP has done to LTG, if not less, because I don't think Turkey Tom has been pestering DSP about getting onto his show or whatever the fuck as he has to LTG completely. And isn't it funny that when he did the Rich react, he was bragging about how, oh, now Rich is in the doghouse. Oh, now he's in the firing squad. And I said this before. The dude went on and saying that he wouldn't wish this kind of harassment on anyone else, who then just bragging about how Rich is going through all this drama and this and that because Rich dared to make fun of DSP, which you can objectively say that the stuff that Rich was doing wasn't even that negative or that big. For him to call it harassment for 10 years is a huge overstatement. It that's insane to say that Rich was harassing him when the harassment in question is him saying, "Lol, he fabbed," and guys, uh, and asked DSP stupid questions in super chats, like, and sending him pictures of his nipples. Like, that's harassment. Like, you blocked him, and then you unblocked him, then you blocked him again. Like, whatever, you dealt with it. I would think it would be more harassment if, like, Rich, like, made a lot of sock accounts and went around your block to then tweet at you and do all this other stuff, which other people have done to him, but he is more harsh to Rich doing nothing almost. But then he says that, well, Rich talking about the FAP is making my wife cry. But then he brings up the FAP from time to time, and he says it's funny. And this and that. Like, he doesn't really have any consistency. And again, this is just a lot of issues that have not gotten away, but have been exemplified and magnified by this current change to doing Kino Casino stuff. And he has said multiple times he's only doing this to benefit from the new attention. But shouldn't you take this new attention and show people who that wouldn't give you the chance who you really are, a positive content creator, instead of placating to other people's content? Again, this dude is a sponge. He doesn't have any personality, no identity. Like, what makes you, when you think about his content, what is the thing you think about? You just think of the memes, like, oh, he begs, WWE Champions time, the FAP, that's it. But all this stuff is stuff that other people have said about him. You're not going to think about something that DSP has done. The only thing that he has done in his content that people bring up to this day is, why am I toxic? And it's Tevin's fault. That is the only thing that DSP has done himself that has become a meme. Other than that, what has he done? You look at all the emotes not made by him, or are a reference to other emotes that other people have made for other people that he has co-opted for his own. The dab, he only did it because other people were doing the dab, and this. There's nothing unique about his own fucking content, and this is still an issue. And it's exemplified by how easily he was swayed by Kino Casino to start doing drama content, a thing that he told us he was against. So, if you didn't have any doubts before about DSP having an identity, here it is. This dude has no identity, no personality, nothing. He will just co-opt whatever it is that that's around him. Oh, Kino Casino is famous for doing drama content. I'm gonna do that now because they're kind to me. I'm gonna start doing that. That's not really emblematic of who you are, correct? So why are you changing who you are? And he has also complained about other people having to change their content, and them changing the content to make drama is bad. Rich went from reviewing tech, and then he went to do drama content. Well, DSP, wasn't the Level 1 podcast initially about him just being positive and talking about gaming and relaxing with his audience? Now it's, well, let's discuss about the detractors, the drama, and the drama of other content creators. These were things he was against, and now he's talking about it in his own fucking podcast. It's its own segment. He does clips now, highlighting this. But, man, Rich changing his content to be drama content? What an idiot, right? He is so close of falling down the grifting of the culture war bullshit. He's so close of doing that it's insane. He's so close of just falling into that well of grift that it will take a nice little nudge for him to do that. And he will, because this dude has no principles. He has said for years how game developers should unionize and they should be paid well and this and that, all this stuff. Bethesda gets unionized and he immediately says, well, I don't know if they should be unionized. Starfield sucked, guys. And I'm just sitting there thinking, so only game devs that should be unionized are the ones that make good games. But it doesn't beg the question, what if the games are bad because these game devs aren't unionized, so they're getting crunched and more things slip through the cracks than a developer that lets them take their time uh, with the projects that's allotted to them. Sometimes a bad game's a bad game, but I don't think withholding unions from people over a game being bad is like fair. Like it's like you work at a hospital and you're a good doctor, you're doing a good job, but the other doctor is doing a bad job, so your pay suffers because of that. Like that wouldn't be fair. Why should your pay benefit that? But if both doctors are being paid equally, maybe the other one can afford to uh, get better training, I guess. I don't know. I mean, this is not a really good example, to be fair, but for him to say that, well, I don't know if Bethesda should be unionized since Starfield sucked, just shows how little he really cares. And then he goes on and on to say that why should games take so long to make and this and that, when a lot of the time that games take a longer time to make is because it takes a lot of time to research and to develop a game that pleases the investors, pleases the current market that wants movie-like experiences in their video games, this and that. Which is why when he plays games that have low budget, he seems to be more dismissive of it. Meanwhile, he wants more games like God of War Ragnarok or stuff like that, where that will definitely take more time to make because, like how these games look, they're not something that you can just kind of make in a day. So all these things are just factors as to why game development takes a long time, and even then, game devs are still crunched. And he's sitting there saying they should make games more quickly and more efficiently. But what does that mean? In all reality, for a game development to be more efficient, I don't know why this is becoming another gaming talking segment. The budgets need to be more pulled back and be more okay to not look movie like as possible. It's okay for them to look like video games and polygons. We don't need for this movie like quality in a lot of video games. They can look pretty good and pretty decent, sure, but they don't need to look phenomenal, for example. But he brings up Pokemon and saying, well, look at how shitty Pokemon looks. But it's like, well, do we know if Game Freak is crunched? They probably are because they make Pokemon games almost every year. Like, of course they're gonna be crunched on time, and they may not be able to polish these games as much as they should. Uh, and again, this is stuff that all changes over time, etc., etc. But these are things that anyone would think about and have a thought when they are discussing their opinion on unionization and crunch and this and that. But he doesn't offer anything meaningful or anything standard because he doesn't believe it. He says it because he thinks that it's the right thing to say, that no one's gonna be critical of him over. But when you flip flop on it, it doesn't make you seem that believable of a narrator or a person to listen to. Like, are we really gonna listen to a guy that says game developers should be unionized? No, they shouldn't. Like, no. Like that's insane. Why would you one day say they should be unionized and the other day should not? There's so many instances where he blames the CEOs of why a game sucks and this and that. Meanwhile, he then goes on and say, "Wow, these developers suck." And then he would also try to throw in, "Not the developers. I'm talking about the CEOs and this and that." But it's very obvious he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Because not as much as people bring up the CEOs that affect the pay and the work on video games and this and that, to some degree it's also understandable that some of the flaws in video games are also made by the development team. But it takes a little more of a critical thought to understand like what is done via CEO like issues where they're just crunching them and saying this needs to be done by tomorrow or whatever the fuck, versus that a developer thought this was generally a good idea, then it just kind of flops. Whatever, it's a long debate that you can really have about it, and it's interesting on many layers about it, but you're not gonna get that from DSP. You're just not. You're not gonna get that from him. You're not gonna understand it from him because he doesn't understand what the fuck he's reading. He's reading all these articles and he doesn't understand what he's reading or cares about what he's reading. He only cares about the bullet points of what he's read, and then he says it to prove a point. Like, yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth did not sell to expectations, but these are expectations. Did it make enough money? Did it get its money back from by the development? Probably it did. Uh, but does that mean it was a sales success? Probably not, because it's sold on one console so far. But again, what fails expectations? These are just expectations that someone makes, thinking that, oh, we're gonna be able to sell this amount, and then they don't. The expectation should not be determining of the success of a video game. Any gamer can understand that a lot of these like expectations that a lot of these developers make are just out of greed and out of like what they think that they're worth. Meanwhile, they could make their money back and be successful, and they'll just not accept that because they didn't hit their super duper big amount. But DSP doesn't really like think about that, and then uses it to boast about how he was right about there being too many RPGs. When, why should any developer curb their development around a streamer's schedule when he was planning on not playing Persona 3 Reload anyway? But these are just little issues I had with his gaming news segments, as always, and how little of a foresight he really has. And these are just problems that are just going to keep compounding over time, and it's probably going to get worse and worse as this new arc of drama content continues, because each passing podcast, it's just either at best nothing, at worst him just doing a lot of drama content and just being an idiot about it, because a lot of stuff he's complaining about is stuff that he was saying he was trying to do. Again, LG's in a position where this is potential spam. What kind of video would this be if I didn't get a phone call, right? But you look at LTG and he just wants to be left alone and left to stream. You look at DSP over the years, he always says, I don't want to do these collabs. I want to just do my own thing and stay on stream and stay on my stream and, oh my god, I'm like spacing. And do my own thing. I just want to do my own thing. And now that LTG is saying that, he gets mad about it. But for years, Rich has been trying to get him on his show, and DSP is telling him, no, I just want to do my own thing. I want to sit here in my lane and do this. He said last year after the Side Scrollers interview that he learned his lesson and he doesn't want to bring drama to his community. He now is on the Kino Casino stuff and he's bringing drama to his community. The thing he said that he wouldn't do. Isn't that ironic? That this dude went back on his own word about, I don't want to bring up drama, to then just talking about drama casually? But this is the kind of shit DSP does now. He has no integrity, just at all. The integrity he has is so minimal. At best, it's insane. This dude is gonna just be very confused once this starts to backfire, and he's gonna be lost, because at some point he's gonna come to a crossroads where his original fans are gonna start to be like, well, this guy is kind of a drama guy. Like, all he has now in his chat are LARPers and Jade. And the Kino Casino fans. That's all he has in his chat now. He banned Derek, but he didn't ban him because he believed what he was told or that he understood why it was a problem. He banned him because, well, I want people to shut up about it and move on. And he didn't understand it. Like, he was in a call where they were explaining to him why he should care, and he said, I don't know why people care and I don't understand it. And a lot of people bring up that, oh, you should abandon this and that, but I just also want to bring this up as well. DSP Derek has numerous times been spamming his chat. Just that alone was a bannable offense. If he banned him for that years ago, it would be a different place. Everything would have been different. But he kept him around, and this thing became a monster where now it's like a moral thing to ban him. And DSP just banned him, and he doesn't know why. Because this dude doesn't care about what other people think, only what benefits him. He thought that that Kiwi Farms interview was going to benefit him in the sense that either he was going to get Kiwi Farms to remove his subthread or change it or censor it or whatever, and that didn't happen. And he kind of left it, with his tail between his legs. But it's just emblematic of what DSP is all about. what benefits him, and that's it. He doesn't care about what other people say. He doesn't care about any improvements to his own detriment. Only when he's desperate. Look what happened with the current King's coffers. It was $200, including super chats and tips. It wasn't getting hit anymore. He then decides to walk it back to 150. Now, by the time he added super chats and super chats and tips to the $200 King's coffers, he wasn't getting 150 consistently. So he thought that it would be easier to get 200 if he includes both. So it was already on like training wheels to get the vestry back on by having both count. Now, since that wasn't working, he lowered it, hoping that it's going to get people to contribute again and get the streak going again so he can brag about how he's owning the detractors and the trolls. And it got to the point where he's saying, well, no one really cares because Kino Casino isn't around and this and that. And you look at this and you think to yourself, why is this guy so dependent on Kino Casino? I have seen people do collabs with other people, and I've never seen them be this dependent on them existing. It's genuinely insane how this dude is so clingy and desperate. And you look at the games he offers. Now, uh, last night when he did the special video discussing his new guest Ptolomeo, he said, "Well, back then I was gonna do Monster Hunter with Ptolomeo and do all this other co-op stuff with him." But look at the co-op stuff he's doing with Kino Casino. You know, the people that are actually there are just like streamer meme mini games, kind of so like chained together. Nothing meaningful. They just said, "Why didn't you do Warhammer with them?" No. Like, why are Kino Casino being relegated to doing meme games and not like interesting playthroughs with him? You know, you look at even back then with John Rambo and Howard, mostly John Rambo. Look at the games he played with him versus what he played with Leanna and what he played by himself. The only game he played with Rambo was Resident Evil 6, and you can argue it's not because he genuinely wanted to. It's probably because he heard the co-op sucks in Resident Evil, so he was like, okay, then I'll just... No, not the co-op. The single player sucks. So he kind of had Rambo there to play with him because it had a local co-op, whatever. So it's never really like genuine almost with any co-op game. He never plays an actual game. So him saying that I was gonna play Monster Hunter Worlds with Tolo is a complete bullshit lie. You go back and listen to all of the pre-streams when he was telling his audience why he's not playing Monster Hunter World. I played the demo, everyone said it was boring, and they wanted me to play something else. I am playing Shadow of the Colossus now because it's a much better game and it has more variety. He then went on and on in the playthrough of Shadows of the Colossus, making fun of how repetitive Monster Hunter World is. And he had the goal to say that the reason why he didn't do the Monster Hunter World collab with Ptolomeo was because of trolls. The trolls did not get in the way of the co-op. This is what actually happened. So I don't know if it was a gameplay stream or a pre-stream, but DSP said, well, even Tolo said that this game is a boring repetitive grind or whatever the fuck. The trolls went to Tolo's stream and told Tolo what DSP said about what Tolo said about Monster Hunter Worlds. And when Tolo heard that, he was like, "Oh, I did not say that. This guy's putting words in my mouth. That's fucked up." And shocker, this isn't the first time DSP has put words into people's mouths. He has always done this. He did this to a professional, whatever, journalist back in the day when they were interviewing him. He put words in their mouth to the point where that guy had to make a video showing the actual conversation so that you know what he actually said, and he didn't say what DSP said he said. And this is just a constant issue where DSP tries to either summarize what was said, and by doing so, actually changing the context of what was said. And he says that, I'm going to try to read a verbatim and this and that in previous emails and this and that he wanted to read. And it's not in good faith when he reads someone else's statements. He always reads it assuming the worst, or that they're trolling, or this and that. He never really takes it at face value, and he never really thinks about what is being told to him Again, you go to this certain Craig interview. That is exactly what's going on. Multiple times, Craig has told him, "I didn't know you emailed me. How am I actually ignoring you if I don't know you emailed me?" Just because again, this is a nice little retread of the Craig drama, but Craig, oh my god, excuse me, DSP emailed Craig saying, "Are you going to check your email?" That's what the email said, and he said that I'm still thinking about sending you the information, this and that. That was the email Craig did not know he sent him. Uh, so how was he actively ignoring him? And if he wants to go off and say, "Well, I sent you the email, this and that," then say that. You can say, "Well, I sent you an email and you didn't respond to it, and you responded to it late." And it was a misunderstanding and a miscommunication, which he could easily have just been apologized and mend. But in that interview, DSP was not interested in mending bridges or clearing the air other than to get Craig to say, "I'm sorry." Because he wanted that soundbite. He wanted to leave that interview saying, "I got Craig to apologize for being negative to me, guys. Look what I did." Because look at what happened after Keem. I may not remember that interview very well, but since then, DSP literally has been bragging how Keem and him are solid. They're cool again. And again, I brought this up in the past videos. DSP made it a point to say how Keem is a disgusting person and he's a shitty person, and he compared Lolcow Live to the Anna Nicole Smith show where Anna Nicole Smith died, right? That's where that quote comes from. "She's dead now." That's where that came from. And then he also insinuated blame about Etika's suicide by saying that it was because of the videos that Keemstar uploaded because it incited his audience to go after Etika that drove him to do that. And this and that. He has said this in his own fucking reacts. And then to come around and say, "I'm cool with him." What principle do you have? Like, you went on and on. But the real issue wasn't that. No. It was because Keem was negative to DSP. Again, go back and watch all these videos where DSP was panicking over Keem trying to get his attention. And then to say, "Well, I was just joking, Keem. I just liked seeing you grovel, I guess." Whatever. And it's just like, if someone told you that, you probably would not be in the best of mood, and you probably wouldn't be like, "Wow, you're so cool." You're probably gonna say to fuck off, which Craig also said Keem should have told him, because it is incredibly childish how he responds to other people that he has had problems with. But the lack of integrity is really, really the crux of this issue. He doesn't stand for anything. He says he stands for all this other stuff, but I guarantee you, he will fall immediately on his back the moment an opportunity arises. If fucking Activision, EA, Sony, Microsoft, every video game company in the world went to Phil and say, "Phil, we'll sponsor you. We'll give you all the new consoles, all the games for free," he's gonna take that opportunity. But of course, that would never happen. That's insane. But he would take it if it was offered to him. But since he has to put the legwork, well, I can't do it because the trolls, or simply, I would never do it because I'm a gamer and I would never diminish my brand with selling out and this and that. But he already has, in every sense of the word. Again, like, this epiphany of selling out kind of thing occurred to me years ago in the Mega 64 podcast, where they said, like, they uploaded a music video back then. This is the first time they did a music video for their on their channel, and they were getting comments saying that they're sellouts, and they said, "Well, we did video game commercials like since we started making YouTube videos. We've been making commercials, guys. That's kind of selling out." And I was like thinking, yeah, like, they're getting paid to make these videos and all this other stuff. Like, that's what it is. And I realized, being a sellout isn't innately or inherently evil or bad or whatever. What's innately bad or bad, I should say, about selling out is if you are vocally against something and then you get sponsored by that same thing and say it's cool, it's amazing, or that you're just disingenuous about what you're shilling. But again, he throws that loosely to even people who get like early copies and stream it, and they're not allowed to say anything negative or whatever. But what if they do this just so they could just play the game and relax and vibe with their audience? Like, again, just because they take these opportunities doesn't mean that they're sitting there saying, this game is so good, guys. It's amazing. This is game of the year, guys. This is like the best game ever. And he's assuming every streamer does that. Sure, there could be streamers that do that, but who are you to say who is doing that? You can also assume just as much that maybe they're doing it just to like play a new game and relax. They don't have to say anything about the game. But and DSP's content, since there's nothing else to talk about because DSP's a boring fuck, he has only the game to talk about. So of course it would hurt him to do a sponsorship, correct? But that's what he did. Go to the bounty streams. Find the Tevin restream of the LOL stream. He was gassing that game up and to never play it. Guys, this game looks pretty fun. I can't wait for the game to come out. He never played it. He only did the Assassin's Creed bounty because he was already playing the game. And he was early enough in the game where he wasn't truly hating it. And he was hating it after he did those streams. Very convenient, correct? Like, this is just who DSP is. He is the least ethical guy. Not the least ethical guy. Whoops, that's an exaggeration. But he doesn't have any integrity that he brags so much about. It means nothing. And once his fans start to realize that, they're gonna start leaving. Which may or may not even happen, to be completely honest. That may never happen. But what if it did? It would be something. But this is a gamble he's playing, and what's it gonna take? He doesn't really think about what's to lose by adopting all this Kino Casino nonsense. Because what if all his longtime fans don't come back? And then the Kino Casino fans don't come back? What will he have left? And this is stuff that I feel almost every person who makes videos kind of think about. Like, I have seen, like, even Mega 64, and all these other, like, people who upload videos struggle with this balance of, if we do this, we may drive people away. And again, you don't have to rip your hair out over that, but sometimes that is something to think about when you're doing something that for your audience. And sometimes you take the gamble, and sometimes it pans out, sometimes it doesn't. But this is the most extreme gamble to take. A lot of people like Meg64 may take a gamble on uploading a video that may not be something that their fans are used to. Oh, this is a different kind of video. Oh, we're doing something completely different with this, and that's going to be different, and this and that. That's like an insulated risk that's only going to affect maybe that one video, and maybe they'll come back for the next video that they upload, whatever, or they'll just move on, or they'll gain a newer audience. But he is going all in on adopting Kino Casino with no, like, thought of, what if this doesn't pan out? How can I do this that's gonna, like, benefit everyone involved or whatever? He just says it will, but what's the evidence of that? His podcast has changed for the worst, to the point where we're literally hyping up drama every time if there is nothing else to talk about. I thought he was the positive guy, but again, his previous words have come and bite him in the ass again, because he changed again, so who knows what he's going to be like next year. So that's the current content review. I know this is like an all over the place video, but I think it's sometimes fun to kind of just do a video like this from time to time. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a long video of me just talking, but hopefully it made sense. I know it was a little bit unscripted and a little disorganized, but that could also be fun, guys. Sometimes a little chaos is fun, okay? All right? Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.